Hello friends, it's Amber. Welcome back to my channel, and first and foremost, thank you for joining me in today's video. So I know that I have not made a video in quite a while. I've just been kind of prepping for my new craft fair series, and a couple of other things have been going on with me. But I'm back, and I'm so happy to be back in my craft room creating for videos. And so many of you have messaged me, and I just appreciate it so much. I just can't thank you enough for checking in on me and keeping up with me on Instagram. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much. A lot of it has been prepping and getting ready for my 2020 craft fair series. Now this year, craft fairs are not happening for me. That's kind of a given. So we just got our email for our favorite craft fair. We just finally got the confirmation email that it is in fact canceled. But I've already been thinking and wheel spinning on a new idea, and that's what I'm going to be implementing this year, and I cannot wait. My mom and sisters love the idea. We've kind of been brainstorming, so I've been prepping really hard for that, and it's going to be starting here very soon. The launch video for that, I do one every year, kind of explaining how the year is going to go, is going to be coming up in the next couple videos. So it might not be the one after this, but it will probably be the one after that, because I have a couple videos coming out for you guys. And we're going to be making this beautiful album today here on video. It's super easy, and I'm going to be talking you through it. And isn't this gorgeous? I love it so much, but we're going to get back to that in just a minute. But as far as my videos coming up, there's going to be lots of fall stuff. I love starting fall nice and early. So I love taking in as much fall as I can, and I just cannot wait to share with you the new plan for the craft fair series this year. I didn't want to cancel the craft fair series because it is just one of my most favorite times of the year, and I think because of all of you and because of the amazing support that you all have given me throughout the years, you've inspired me to do this new craft fair series in the new way that I'm going to be doing it this year. So stay tuned for that. It's coming up very soon. But today is all about this gorgeous Waterfall mini album. Isn't it super cute? I use the new paper from Create Paper, and I'm going to be showing you this in a minute. This is like their fall, I think, considered their fall line for this year. So this is what I used. But first, let's do a flip through of what we're going to be making. Okay, so first of all, I'm going to be removing this gorgeous burnt orange seam binding that I got from MyScrapcabin on Etsy. She's my favorite Etsy shop, my favorite seam binding shop. I mean, just look at this gorgeousness. And more about that later in the video, but I just have this kind of as a loose closure. And this is the album. There's like a cascading waterfall effect here. I love how I created that, so you can see all the gorgeous paper kind of showcased. And we've got a little gusset here for room for embellishing. So let's go ahead and get right into it. I just did a simple cover here with some chipboard pieces from the collection and some of the cut-aparts and scraps. And then here is the first page. I just put a cute little vellum paper clip. I made a pocket, and I put a little embellishment inside there. Now this album is very simple. It's using 3 pieces of 12 by 12 single-sided paper. And you're going to be surprised because these are not single-sided when I flip them over. They're going to have designs on both sides. And the tutorial is going to explain all that. It's very easy. But this album, I designed it kind of to be for a lot of photos. So you can give them as gifts. You can glue them in just for your memories. Do whatever you want. But this is kind of how I designed this. So here, we'll do a quick little flip through. I just tucked in a cute little embellishment from the collection with a gold paper clip. As you can see, all the sides are nice and decorative. Beautiful paper. I chose 3 pieces of 12 by 12 paper from that Fresh Bouquet collection. Single-sided, of course. I've been getting so many requests to do single-sided projects. So this is a perfect one for all that single-sided paper you're hoarding. And then here's this for a nice spread for 2 pictures. Cute little pocket here. This is also in the ephemera pack, or the stationery pack, I think it's called. And then that. You can put two beautiful pictures here, and then that's the back cover. That's what the top looks like. And then I just like to tie it back with this beautiful seam binding. So if you want to learn how to make this gorgeous, simple album, let's get started. So I'm working with this gorgeous paper pad by Crepe Paper. This is their, I guess their fall line for this year. It's called Fresh Bouquet, and it's so beautiful. It's very subtle fall colors. So I'll just do a quick flip through so you can kind of see the colors in here. It's so pretty, and I cannot wait to work with this. I think it's so gorgeous, and I think it goes really well with the Maggie Holmes Heritage Collection. The colors are very similar. Love this page. So I just absolutely love this paper pad. Okay, so that's the quick little flip through of this paper pad. So now I'm going to go through here and choose 3 pages, because this mini album is made using 3 pages of single-sided paper. So I know I want to use this beautiful piece right here. Absolutely love this. And then, oh yeah, this is another one of my favorites. And then I might go with that one, but I might want to stick with like the golds. Ooh, I think I'm going to use this one so I can stick with like the blush and the mustard yellow colors. That would be super pretty. So I'm working again with 3 pieces of single-sided 12 by 12 paper, and we're going to make a beautiful album. So let me get my paper trimmer out. I'm going to be giving you all the dimensions you're going to need, but first, before anything, let me go ahead and cut off this strip up here to make it a true 12 by 12. So all I do for that is I just go all the way to 12 inches and then just chop off that strip. So let me do this for all the papers. So now all 3 pages are true 12 by 12. So the first thing we're going to do is super easy. You're going to cut every single one of these down into 4-inch strips. So if your paper has a specific direction or orientation, you want to make sure that you put the top of the paper on the right and the bottom at the left. And you're just going to go in at 4 inches and just cut 4-inch strips off your paper. So you're going to come up with 3, of course, per paper. So now we've got 3 4-inch strips, and you're just going to do the same thing for the other 2 sheets. So now that we have all of our pages cut down to 4 inches, you're going to choose one of these sheets for your cover. I'll go with this one right here. So I'm going to set that aside, and then I'm going to work with these. So now you want to put the rest of these sheets in order to where they alternate in design. So this one, and then this one, and just kind of do the same pattern. So you got the pink one, the dark one, and then this one, the pink one, and dark ones. So now you've got these all in the order that you're going to cut them for the pages. So I'm going to put them here. They're all in the order I want them in. So now I'm going to tell you how you're going to cut these down. They're all going to be cut at a slightly different dimension. So you're going to keep them all intact at the 4 inches. But for the first page, you're going to cut this at 5.5. So here's your 5.5-inch piece. Stick it here. And then your scrap piece is going to go in a pile here. That's very important because we're going to be using the scrap pieces specifically later on in the project. So the ones we're using here now, and then the scrap piece in the pile up here. Okay, so your second piece you're going to be cutting at 5 3/4. So basically we are just cutting these 1/4 of an inch more with each page. So here's our 5 3/4 piece. Scrap piece goes up here. The next piece is going to be 6 inches. So I'm going to stick that over here, this one here. The next piece, you guessed it, is going to be 6 1/4. Six and a quarter there, scrap up there, and then 6 1/2 is your next piece. And this piece is going to be 6 3/4. Okay, so this leaves you with 2 additional 4-inch strips. You're going to stick this in the pile with the scraps right here because we're going to need all of this later in the project. Okay, so next we're going to do some scoring, and I let my mother-in-law borrow my scoreboard and I cannot find my little scoreboard, so we're going to be using this paper trimmer to score. And this is actually good because I know a lot of people don't have a scoreboard, so this is an easy way that you can score your paper using your paper trimmer and a bone folder. So let me grab my bone folder here, and here's the pages that we cut. So these are the dimensions that we cut that we just did right now. So you're going to take your shortest piece that we cut first, and this is 5 1/2 inches. You're going to stick this in the true way that you want to see it. So what I mean by that is top is here, bottom is here, this is the left of the page, and this is the right. You're going to stick this in at 1/4 inch, and you're going to score right there because on these paper trimmers there's a little groove. If you don't have a paper trimmer either, just take a ruler. So you're just going to measure in at 1/4 inch. Take your ruler and bend the paper at the 1/4 inch. It's very easy. That's all we're trying to accomplish is a little 1/4 inch score line. So I'm going to stick this over here. Next we're going to take the one that we cut at 5 3/4. Again, look at it the true way you want to see it, and put it in at 1/4 inch. And just make a little score line down the groove. Now be careful not to rip the paper. This is not a true scoreboard, so this groove is a little deeper and you don't want to rip that paper. So there it is, our next piece with a 1/4 inch score. So you're going to do that with the rest of your pages. Stick it in at the 1/4 inch mark and make a score line. So now remember, we reserved this piece for our cover. So this is what you're going to do with this piece. Again, stick it in truly how it is, top, bottom, left, right. And you are going to take this and score this at 6 3/4 inches. So again, this is not a cut. You're going to be scoring this. So if you have a scoreboard, by all means use it, but you're just going to measure this paper to 6 3/4 and score. Then you're going to move this to 7 inches and score again. So you're making a 1/4 inch gusset right here. And again, don't rip your paper, especially your cover. So now, I don't know if you can see that, but there's our 2 score lines. And the first thing I want to do is fold my cover. So I'm going to fold on those 2 score lines we just made and make sure it's straight. Go ahead and crease it down very gently with your bone folder. Crepe paper is pretty smooth and doesn't crack that much, but still be kind of gentle because we aren't matting this. We're actually using the paper as our base, so you want to be pretty careful with that. Okay, so this is what it looks like now. You've got those 2 score lines in there, if you can see that. And then you've got your cover. It looks funny right now, but it's going to look super cute when we're all done. So let's kind of stick this over to the side. Okay, so now we can take the rest of the pages that we scored and start with the biggest one first. I'm going to, of course, fold on this little 1/4 inch score line that we made. And just give it a nice crease with your bone folder. These are a little tough because they're so small, but it's definitely possible to do. So now you've got this cute little flap sticking out. the 1/4 inch flap. On the design side, not on the white side, but on the design side of your paper, you're going to add glue just to that 1/4 inch piece. Now, I'm using my ATG gun because it's a 1/4 inch wide, but you can use wet glue here. That would actually be really good to use wet glue because it's flexible. But I'm just going to use my ATG gun. And then you're going to open this. Let me zoom in for this part. So then you're going to take your cover and just open it up. And as you know, we did the 2 score lines. The score line that is furthest to the right, you're going to fold this part down on that paper that you glued. And you're going to line this edge up with that far right score line. And make sure it's very, very even and straight. Top and bottom are not, you know, overlapping or anything. Don't go over the score line, go just at the score line and glue your paper down. So there it is. Okay. So now that we have that on there, here's the paper we just glued down. This is where you're going to start your next piece. So take the next biggest piece and of course fold down your 1/4 inch score line. Crease it with your bone folder. And remember, add glue to the design side of that flap. Okay, so now what you're going to do is fold that down again, find that same score line, and you're going to stack this on top of the one we just did and glue it, again, very straight with that last piece, with that flap folded under where the glue is exposed, and glue it right down. Take your bone folder and really burnish it down so it adheres to the other paper really well. Okay, so now we've got 2 pages, this one and that one, all glued into our book. Okay, so now let's do the next one. Here's our next sheet. Of course, fold that down, crease it with your bone folder, find the design side of that flap, add your adhesive, fold it down so your adhesive is exposed down there, and then bring in your book here and line this up perfectly straight as best you can with that paper underneath and right at that second score line, and burnish. Okay, so now you can kind of see how this is coming along. We've got 3 pages in here so far. Looking good. And I'm just going to put our last 3 in there, still in the same order, biggest to smallest. And I'm going to continue gluing them in here just like I did these. Okay, so I finished gluing all the pages in. It's looking super cute. So if I close my album, that gusset allows for all those stacked pages to move freely. And so that's why we did our 1/4 inch gusset. So here's what the album looks like so far. It's super cute. This is how we have it. I am going to probably end up rounding the corners just to protect them. I'm not sure yet though. So as you can see, we've got this gorgeous album started, but we do have a lot of white space. So some people like that, so you can journal on that side. But since we have all these scraps left, I figured we could mat these pages and utilize all the pieces of paper. First, you're going to grab one of the 12 by 4 inch pieces that we had left over, and you're going to cut that at, okay, so we cut this down to 6.5 inches, and this little piece goes back in that scrap pile, and then you're going to cut it this way at 3 3/4. Okay, so now the final measurement on this is 6.5 by 3 3/4. So this mat piece is for the back page right here. So what I like to do with this piece is just frame it. You're going to have a little bit of a border all the way around, and I think it looks really nice like that. So just add your adhesive and glue it down. So a quick tip on adding this dry adhesive, make sure that you don't get it all the way to the edge to where some of the glue kind of seeps over, because then your album will stick together. So then you're going to just stick this down and frame it so there's a little bit of an even border all the way around. I think that looks so nice with the white border all the way around, and it's a great way to use up all of your paper. Okay, so there's our back piece. Looking really good. So next, take your other 12-inch piece that we still have, and you're actually going to mat this side the exact same way as this side. You're going to cut this down to 6 1/4 by 3 3/4. So 6 1/4, and again, put your scrap piece over here, by 3 3/4. Okay, so with that, you're going to do the exact same thing as you did here. You're going to mat this white page on the left. So get your glue and just glue it down. When you're over here by the spine, be careful not to rip that, but I'm just kind of burnishing that down. And isn't that gorgeous? We've got those two back pages beautifully matted. Okay, so now you've got all these scrap pieces that we saved, and I'm going to tell you what you need to cut with these pieces. So with the rest of your scraps, you will have plenty for the following dimensions that you're going to need. You're going to have different dimensions, and I'm going to go over them right now. 6 by 3 3/4, 5 3/4 by 3 3/4, 5 1/2 by 3 3/4, 5 1/4 by 3 3/4, 5 by 3 3/4, and 4 3/4 by 3 3/4. And I'm putting them here all on the screen so you can pause it and cut your paper down and be ready. You will have a couple little scraps left, but go ahead and save those just in case you mess up on one of these, or you can always use these to make cute little tags or something for your album. But put these aside because you might need them. So again, cut all your paper down, and what this is going to do, it's going to cover all of the leftover white spots in your album, and it's going to map those perfectly. So obviously the bigger dimension that I said goes on the bigger pages. So we just did the back cover and the first white spot. So you're going to, of course, take the next one, which is going to be the 6 inches by 3 3/4 to this big page, the next smallest one here, and so on and so on. And they're going to map these perfectly with that even border all the way around, including the front inside cover. Okay, so the first one, I'm going to open up to the biggest white spot. That's right here, and that's the one that measures 3 3/4 by 6. So I'm going to take my biggest piece and do 6 inches by 3 3/4. And I'm not worrying too much about the order of the designs. I mean, I try to a little bit, but for the most part, it's all going to look good. So now I've got this piece to perfectly mat my next biggest white spot right here. Okay, so I finished matting my entire album. I think it turned out really cute. So here's what I came up with. All the pages have the beautiful paper on them. I think they are just so pretty. And I love how the pages get bigger and bigger. And there's the back. And again, there's that 1/4 inch gusset that we have. So that's kind of how it looks from the top. I think with some of the leftover paper here, I want to make a cute little pocket on this front cover. So for that, it's just going to measure 4 3/4 by 2. You know I like to punch a little notch, a little pull tab for my pockets. So I'm just taking this 1 1/2 inch circle punch. You can use any circle punch you have, and just eyeballing it and doing like a half circle. So now I'm just going to glue this down to my front cover. Just put glue on the sides and the bottom in a very thin layer. Just a thin bead of glue. And just lightly kind of press it down. So now that becomes a pocket, and if you have any of the ephemera with any of your paper pads or cut aparts, you can stick goodies in there and it becomes a cute little pocket. Our album is pretty much done, but I want to decorate the cover really, really simply. So I'm going to grab the paper pad again and see if the cut apart sheet has any good options. Okay, so for the chipboard pieces, I learned this little trick from Danny at Fizz Paper, one of my absolute favorite YouTube channels, and she has a Patreon crafty club as well. I'll link her channel below so you can go over there and check it out. But I peeled off some layers of the chipboard so it's not as bulky, and then I can just add my own adhesive and have that on there like this. I think that would be much better than these bulky layers of chipboard, like for a heavy piece. So I did the same for this one. I just peeled off several layers of the chipboard, and now it's more of a delicate thin piece that I can embellish right there. There's the cover of my album. I think it looks so pretty. And you know me, I'm going to put one more finishing touch on here. So I want to add some really artsy, beautiful seam binding. And my favorite Etsy shop is where I purchase all of my seam binding. It's called MyScrapcabin, and I just recently picked up gorgeous fall colors from her, and I just think they're so beautiful. She has like so many different colors over there. You can never even imagine all the different colors, and she does like little sets and little color combos. It's so cute. I'm going to link her shop below because she's amazing, her customer service and everything. And you know I'm a huge fan of crinkled dyed seam binding, and just having all these beautiful colors in my collection just make me so happy. I was thinking of doing like a color that matches this like burnt orange color, and this one right here is perfect. I don't know if the camera is doing it justice, but I'm going to use this, and all I'm going to do is just take this off the little roll here, and I'm just going to measure out a length, and it's just going to be like a loose piece to keep this closed. It's not going to be glued down or anything like that, so I'm just going to eyeball where to cut it, and all I'm going to do is just kind of lay this down kind of loose, like I said. And I think this will be the perfect little closure for our album. And it'll add so much decorative touch to the front cover. So then you just tie it like a little present. So as you can see, I just made a little bow, and I just wrapped it around the entire album so it's removable. And I think it looks so good. Our album has really come together. Don't make this too tight right here because you don't want it to cut into the paper. but I think this is beautiful. I love the touch of the seam binding. So as we do our final flip through, I'm going to add a couple cute little add-ins. And I have some gold paper clips here from the Dollar Tree. And I did pick up the stationery pack for this Fresh Bouquet collection. And there's cute little bits in here. So I'm just going to choose a couple. So this album can really be as simple as you want or as extravagant as you want. So to get into it, all we have to do is open up our cute little seam binding. And let's do a flip through. So here's our cover, very simple. And then this is perfect for adding photos to each page. They're all different sizes. You can add journaling. So I think this cute little framed die cut would look adorable in the pocket. And then this vellum paper clip would look cute, kind of hanging off the pocket, I think, like that. I think that is adorable. So here's our first page. You flip it over like this, and it's got a nice matted page here. That's a nice contrast of color. Maybe we'll clip this in right here. It's nice to just have some cute little elements like this throughout the album. There's that spread. This is adorable. I think this would look really good. You could slip a photo right in there. So that's really cute. And here's this beautiful spread. And then this, I think we can do maybe a cute little clip in right here. And then we've got these two pages for big photos, and there's the back. So I think that this turned out super cute. It uses up 3 pages of 12 by 12 single-sided paper, and I do have 1 scrap left, and I can make tags out of this, or I can just make like a little booklet and stick it in the pocket. But I think that this is so beautiful. I'm going to tie it back up with my gorgeous burnt orange seam binding. So the paper pads that have 36 sheets, you can make 12 of these albums with 1 paper pad. Sell them at your craft fair if you're having one this year. Give them away as gifts to family and friends. Fill them up with pictures already. Give them to grandparents, aunts and uncles. Anything. You could do to document your kids' school year. Anything. So this is such a perfect project to use up that single-sided paper. So a lot of you have been requesting that I do a single-sided paper idea. This is a perfect one for you to kill a paper pad. So with this one, if you have 48 sheets, which this one has from crepe paper, and then you take away the 2 cut-apart sheets, of course, so you'll have 46, you can make 15 of these little albums and use up an entire paper pad, and it takes no time at all. It's just, you know, getting used to the measurements and then gluing them down. That's all it really takes. So I hope that you enjoyed this project. So again, I'm back. Sorry for the long hiatus. Again, I'm very excited for this year's craft fair series. It's going to be such a unique one, and I'm actually really excited about it. So stay tuned for that launch video where I explain exactly how it's going to work this year. And again, I appreciate you all so much for watching, and I hope you have a great week. See you in the next one. Bye!